most trusted name in news.
Joining me now, three of the best political analysts in the country and CNN contributors all. Ed Rollins, former White House political director, former campaign chairman Mike Huckabee, Republican strategist, syndicated columnist Miguel Perez, and Errol Lewis, columnist, New York Daily News, host of the morning show on WWRL here in New York. Good to have you all here. Miguel, let's start with this. The adventure in the Middle East and Europe for Barack Obama. What do you think?
I think it's trial and error for him. He could do great, and he could really collapse.
He's got three network anchors traveling with him. He's going to have it's going to be a media circus, and no one seems to want to accompany John McCain. What's the deal? Do you see a little media bias there?
There's definitely media bias. All the polls, all the studies that have been done show that, extremely much more coverage for Obama than for McCain. It's going to be hard for McCain now to keep up with whatever's going on in Europe and the Middle East. He's hoping to concentrate on domestic issues while Obama is away. But he's going to have to respond to some of the things that Obama is saying out there from here.
What do you think, Errol?
Well, the drama and the staging of the Obama trip, which the press is playing into, I think is really what's driving all of this. The appearance before the Brandenburg Gate and the sort of a redo of Kennedy's famous appearance there, or Reagan's appearance as well. Right. All throughout the campaigns, what you find is that the media really responds to that. I mean, look, when you have 2,000 members of the press corps, it's dwindled a little bit, but not much, following a candidate around. It's really all about staging, and his team is very, very good at it. I mean, Reagan benefited from the same kind of knack.
You and I both know they could stage till they went blind, and the fact is, if the national media weren't in the tank for Barack Obama, they wouldn't be there.
Well, I think it can backfire on him, frankly. I mean, and some of the biggest mistakes he's made, I think, have come when he took for granted that everybody in the press would kind of spin things in his direction.
Ed?
We're now at a point where Barack Obama has had some great settings in the past, and he's had some great speeches in the past. We're now looking for substance. The country's looking for substance. And I think on this trip, if it's not substance and it's all style, with the cameraman and everybody else following, I think he'll look much shorter in stature than he starts the trip. The thing that scared me the most about his trip, as I read in the New York Times today, he has 300 national security foreign advisors, which means that he has a mini State Department traveling. What you need is one or two good, smart people giving you good counsel, not 300 people giving you all kinds of conflicting things.
And you're thinking back to the days of James Baker, Brent Scowcroft, Zbigniew Brzezinski. I know that you would probably argue with that as a Republican, but some smart people.
Absolutely. You need the best and the brightest around you, but you don't need thousands. And I think what he has now is he's trying to cover every base. And you look at that list of, it's every past administration, and there's different viewpoints. And you need some. He's got to basically hit some triples and some doubles and a home run on this trip. Otherwise, he's going to come up looking like he's not president.
Well, right now, the polls are showing something very interesting. And that is that despite all of the national media's fervor and deep and abiding passion for Barack Obama, it isn't shared by the country. The man is in a dead heat with a 71-year-old fellow that the national media wants to reject as too old and out of touch. And also because of his links, of course, to George W. Bush, to an economy that is struggling at best. What's going on, Miguel? Is the national media really this far out of touch with the mood and the temperature of the people?
Absolutely, I think so. But at the same time, look, it's not just the media. It's like the reaction that Obama is going to get in Europe. Mm-hmm. That is a two-edged sword. If he's too popular in France, the American people may not like that.
Yeah. I think that. I don't know. I think the French can be forgiven a lot as they watch the romance between Sarkozy and Carla. I mean, I think much is being forgiven, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Much is being forgiven, but at the same time, if he goes over there and it turns out that he, and it's expected right now. This is what everybody's expecting, that Obama is going to be so well received in Europe that it might actually turn off American voters.
Well, one of the things that I believe, and that's all I can say is I believe, because we don't have right now, but I think we're getting it, empirical objective evidence that's turning off American voters is all of this playing and pandering to ethnocentric interest groups, whether it be La Raza, whether it be LULAC, whether it be the NAACP. I'm just curious about, were you amused that Barack Obama bought into the La Raza line, that La Raza means the people instead of the race.
No, absolutely not. The La Raza means the race, and I've had a problem with the name of that organization forever, you know.
But it's incredible. When are we going to see the sort of break to recognize the rest of the American people who are not in any way identified? The reality is quite different. I don't believe black people are represented by the NAACP any more than I believe Hispanic Americans are represented by La Raza. But when are we going to see this nonsense end?
Well, in the short term, I think you're going to see it end as we get closer to the convention. This is the slowest media time of year. A lot of people are on vacation. They're not really tracking this. You do a little, they're doing, both candidates are doing a little pocket pandering. Talking to people, you know, knowing that
pocket pandering.
I made
like
a phrase I made.
I like that.
But it is. They're trying to sort of, you know, say something that they don't think the rest of the country's listening to. Slip a few voters in their pocket and kind of slip out and keep going. And they can get away with it now. It'll all end around convention time.
We're going to talk about wholesale pandering in just a moment. We're going to leave that for Ed Rollins. We'll be right back with our political roundtable in one moment. Stay with us. We're coming right back. You don't want to miss wholesale pandering.
Your life and still manage your diabetes with Freestyle blood glucose meters. And right now, you can get a free meter and starter test strips just by calling. With the latest Freestyle meters, there's no inconvenient coding. Just give the world's smallest blood sample to get the results you need. Call for a Freestyle meter that fits your life, like the new Freestyle Freedom Light meter, easy to read and use so you can live more freely. Call for your free meter today, because freedom never goes out of style.
A building story from Crestor.
While we were building our life,
something else was building in my arteries. Dangerous plaque. It had been building up most of my life. My doctor said it's a progressive disease called atherosclerosis.
And with his high cholesterol, he prescribed Crestor to help slow the buildup of plaque.
Along with diet, Crestor lowers bad cholesterol, raises good, and is approved to slow the progression of atherosclerosis.
Is Crestor right for you? Ask your doctor.
Crestor isn't for everyone. Like people with liver disease or women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, simple blood tests will check for liver problems. Tell me about other medicines you're taking, or if you have muscle pains or weakness. That could be a sign of serious side effects.
Talk to your doctor about plaque buildup and find out if it's time for Crestor.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
There is a right way to do everything. Doing the right thing doesn't have anything to do with political correctness or popular trends. It's not about numbers. It's simply this. You have a deep understanding of what should be done, and no matter what, you are honest and relentless in doing it. Russell Investments.
We're back with Ed Rollins, Miguel Perez, and Errol Lewis. Ed, let me turn to you and ask you, the pandering that's going on with ethnocentric interest groups, whether it's McCain talking as well about being the biggest free marketer, free trader in the country, whatever. I mean, these two candidates can't seem to find much separation in terms of the voters. When they're supposed to be, McCain's supposed to be lagging way behind Obama.
The truth of the matter is, if the country could do a do-over, they would do a do-over. They've gone through this very long, tedious process, and they have two candidates that are nominated, or about to be nominated by both parties, and they're having very serious doubts. Even Democrats are having serious doubts about Obama, as talented as he may be. And I think certainly Republicans, you'll find anywhere, start having serious doubts.
So this election is going to be about the lesser of lessers.
I think the polls are indicating, and one of the reasons it is so close, it's really about Obama. It's really about, can this guy who's advocating change, who is he? What's the substance? Well, he's going off to basically imitate Kennedy and Reagan, who obviously had certain credentials before they went before the German gate and asked for certain things. And
they were actually elected national office holders.
And they knew something about the substance, and they deserved to basically go there because there was a history. There's no history with this guy, and I think the bottom line here is that the reason it's a close race as opposed to a blowout, which any other Democrat might have had, is that people really have some serious doubts about the substance.
All right. Well, I think there are plenty of doubts to go around between these two candidates, if I may suggest. But one of the things I think that's going to start to show up in these polls, and I'm sensing it when I talk to whether it be the viewers of this broadcast or listeners of my radio broadcast, that is, there's some serious questions about the Democratic Party out of hand, perfunctorily saying no drilling offshore. The sense is most Americans want to drill offshore. They want to drill in Anwar. They want relief from these exorbitantly high gasoline prices, fuel prices, home heating oil prices. There is also a great disenchantment, it seems to me, with the quality of leadership, whether it's in Congress or the White House. What does this mean for the outcome of the election?
Well, I don't know if it changes it, to tell you the truth. Unfortunately, because we have this two-party system where people feel like they, at the end of the day, even if they don't like the Democratic Congress, and that's what the polls all say, popularity is below that of the president.
They hate the Democratic Congress. They hate the Republican president.
Right, but they like their particular congressman. Yeah. I think that dynamic is going to play out, as it often does. I think also in the end, people are not necessarily ready to bolt their party, you know. And then it takes us back to the old question: what will the independents do?
Well, and the independents are the fastest growing, as we know, the fastest growing registrants on the rolls in this country. Faster than Democrats or Republicans, praise the Lord.
I hear Colorado just flipped. Independents are the biggest group now in Colorado.
First of all, we may not like our president, but he is our president, and so it's not a question of getting to re-elect the president. I think the bottom line is independents are coming somewhere else. Independents are disaffected Democrats or disaffected Republicans, and they're making a choice by becoming independents. Young people are becoming independents. They think the two parties aren't relevant to their lives.
And one of the things we're seeing, Miguel, is in the latest polls, we're seeing a disaffection, if you will. We've seen the enthusiasm quotient for Barack Obama among young people drop by just about a third here recently. The implications?
The implications is that McCain still has a shot, and McCain has been surprising us throughout. From the very beginning, we wrote him off, and many times during the summer. And everybody who's writing him off right now is in for a surprise, I think.